Hello and welcome to the new HeartH podcast. We are here to create our personal and financial freedom based on who we truly are, on our heart and soul level. We believe that we, the ordinary people, can do extraordinary things once we access our true potential through our inner union. Please follow our podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel and newsletter. All the links below. Together, we can create so much beauty and abundance. Thank you for being a part of this wonderful community. In the very first podcast in this series, the New Heart podcast, I will actually talk about what personal and financial freedom means to me. As at some point of my journey also, as I created the whole idea and the whole business, and also because all of my experiences during my journey and moving forward also, of course, how I envision the future, I started to think for myself, like, okay, I want to help people to have their financial and personal freedom. But I need to define what does this really mean for me, for myself. So I have created something which I call like a personal and financial freedom code. And I would like to share it with you today. Because also I believe there's a lot of different ideas and misunderstandings probably about what freedom really is. And I would like to also clarify what it means to me. Of course, there will always be some differences because we are all different. But yes, I would like to share what is my idea and what is my vision of the personal and financial freedom. I believe that freedom and responsibility are actually the same part of the same equation. I think that very often people think of freedom as anarchy. And I believe that this comes from the mind, and this kind of belief comes from the person who finds freedom as an act of anarchy. Most probably this person speaks from the level of ego or inner imbalance, an inner rebel who does not respect any rules. But the way I perceive freedom is I think that freedom always starts within, no matter the outside circumstances. Yet, of course, as a collective, we also co-create our common freedom, understanding in physical reality through common experiences, beliefs, and decision. Yet the true freedom comes from a place of wholeness, not lack. Therefore, there's no space for anarchy or chaos. Each of us has probably a different perception and understanding of freedom, as I said at the beginning. And through all these different puzzles of individual perspective and experience, we create a collective experience. But we always create a collective experience through this individual experience. And the individual experience and perception of reality is something that is fully dependent on you. And this is the only thing you have control over. We don't have any control on the outside reality. Okay, it's like a screen for us that displays our own inner reality and the reality of others. And of course, the way we respond to so-called external reality is always based on who we are inside. And going back to the personal freedom code, for me, the personal freedom means, first of all, for me, personal freedom means that I know who I am on a soul level. It means that deep inside, I know who I really am. And also I know that I am a lot more than just a physical body. I know what my purpose is. It means that I know why was I born and why have I come here to have this experience. Personal freedom means for me that I am authentic and speak my truth with integrity. And of course, it is connected very much with point one, because when I know who I am on a soul level, I feel safe and secure within myself. And when I feel safe and secure within myself, I can be authentic and speak my truth. And I'm also a being of integrity. And the third one, the two previous ones lead us to the third one, which is I know and I respect my boundaries and others' boundaries. Because I know that on some level, as beings, we all have boundaries. And I need to know mine. I need to know what serves me and what does not serve me in order to interact with others. But also knowing that I have my boundaries, I need to know and respect that other people have their boundaries as well. I fully own my energy field and I'm fully integrated within. This is very much correlated with one of my favorite themes of my teachings is the masculine and feminine energies. And surely I will talk about this theme in other podcasts, but this is like a brief note here in this point. And that means that when my masculine and my feminine energy within me are healed and they are integrated, it means that they cooperate and they dance with each other instead of fighting. So it means I'm no longer in any internal conflicts. You can also refer it to the mind and heart, and you can also refer it to the left and right brain hemispheres, but it's all about integration. So we're not in the conflict, in the inner conflict. And even if sometimes, of course, because even sometimes I get into inner conflicts and I'm just thinking, okay, what do I feel and what do I think about the situation, if this is in alignment, or if as some scientists or people from the personal development field, coherence. So being fully integrated within, it also means that I'm in a state of coherence. And here comes another point. I decide for myself and take responsibility for my actions as I am adult. As adults, we are taking responsibilities for our actions. It means that, for example, if we make a mistake, we take responsibility. So we are facing the consequences of our actions, because this is the only way we can learn and grow. If in some way and for some reason we are being protected, for example, by our parents, we cannot grow and evolve. And we are somehow stuck in a child's behavior and child's position, because child needs to be protected. Adult takes responsibility and takes action. Then we go to another one. I exchange with others in the way I feel is right. And this is a very interesting one, because it sounds very maybe not so important, or maybe not very clear, but let me give you an example. It's exchange is like when you want to give, and of course you want to receive, but you don't have this expectation behind, you just give. So you decide actually whom you want to give and what you want to give. Because very often we are being told, oh, you have to do this. It means you have to give this, like give attention to this person, or spend time with this person. You have to visit your aunt. You have to visit this friend or the other person. But you don't really feel you want to do it. And you force yourself to do this. It means that you cannot exchange in the way you want it and the way you feel it, because maybe there is something about this person that you don't feel is good for you. It also doesn't mean that this person is bad or wrong or something, but maybe it means that your interaction with this person at this point, it's not making you feel okay. So this part of personal freedom I exchange with others in the way I feel is right is that you have the right to say no. Or you have the right to say yes whenever you want. So it's deciding about with whom you want to interact, with whom you want to exchange. Because it's always ultimately about energy. So whether this is a contact, a physical contact, a conversation, transaction, whatever, you decide. Here comes another point. I know I co-create my reality with the divine and others. So this is quite a big one. And of course, first of all, it requires understanding and acceptance that you are a co-creator of your reality. And the co-creating, it means that to some extent you decide about yourself, but there's also something greater that you are connected to. And this is a lot bigger, and this is something that knows a lot better than any of us. So it's always a matter of this balance. At least this is the way I see it. It's a matter of this balance, and the feeling, like how much can I influence, and how much to which point, to what extent do I create my reality, and to which extent I need to surrender, or when do I need to surrender and be guided. Okay, I mean, guidance is it's always there for us, whether we want to hear it and listen to it and see it and experience it. But the most important thing is to realize, I think, of course, you don't need to agree with me, but I believe that if you are listening up to this point, you probably believe that there is something bigger. And of course, we have influence and control over our lives until a certain degree. And there is something greater also that orchestrates everything. The next point is extremely important, I would say. I am not responsible for my traumas coming from others, but I am responsible for my own healing and integration process as an adult. And yes, of course, we are not responsible for the things that others do for us. Yet, perhaps on some level, we can think in a way that maybe we have signed up for this experience just to experience the healing process after. But of course, it's not everyone will agree with that, and this is not also to justify those who create traumas, because actually all of us can create traumas to another person, and we might even not know this. It's very complex, the topic, but what's the main point here? It's like getting back to the personal responsibility. So of course, you are not responsible what was done to you, what other people did to you. But as an adult person, you are taking responsibility for your healing process. Of course, you don't have to, but if you don't do it, you will be triggered constantly. And just in order for you to realize that you need to heal all the parts that just requires healing. But once you take this responsibility and you start your healing and integration process, this is exactly where and when the real freedom starts. And this is how we go to the last one on my list. Well, this list is, probably it will change over the time, but I really feel like it's the very core of the message, and this is really like also based on my experience and understanding of my journey, the reality, and all the experiences that I had, and I'm still having. So the last one is I'm responsible for managing my own thoughts, emotions, and actions. And this is actually also very much related to the one of the points above. I fully own my energy field and I'm fully integrated within. This is just, translated into a slightly other language on a slightly different level, more like, behavioral level and emotional level, because I'm responsible for managing my own thoughts, emotions, and actions. It means that you take responsibility for what you think, how you feel, and what actions you take. Knowing that nobody can really influence your thoughts, emotions, and actions unless you allow it. And this is also a very important aspect of freedom, because if we allow for external circumstances to rule our thoughts, emotions, and actions, then this is the moment when we lose our freedom. Freedom, or in other words, we can also say sovereignty or interdependency. Okay, and let's move to the part regarding financial freedom. This would be also very interesting, and it will be definitely a big part of these podcasts, and also a part of the other series, because I have created my podcast in series, but perhaps I will talk about it at the end. And yes, so the financial freedom. This is also the code I started to create just as I was creating my whole message and my business and this podcast and other channels. Of course, it is connected with my personal transformation, but also with what is happening globally and individually for all of us. Because as we know, and as you are listening to this podcast, of course, you are aware of all the changes that are happening on Earth now. So let's go to the financial freedom code that I have created. Let me share it with you. So one of the main points is I earn more than I spend. I think this is absolutely obvious, but maybe not always, because sometimes we are stuck in debts, and of course this is the reality we have been experiencing, and this is how the economy is working until now, because many of us have so much debts, and it is a lot more, maybe on a daily basis, our obligations, like monthly obligations, are still less, at least I hope for a lot of us, than our earnings and income. But with the inflation that we are experiencing also, this is going to be a major issue, I believe, in the coming months or perhaps even years. So this is the first one, but I'm not going into more details because I just want to point out. And like I said before, it will be all also much more detailed in other podcasts. So let's go to number 2. And this is my favorite one, actually. It says, I have multiple sources of income. And this is so powerful. I believe that most of us, if we have been working as employees for most of our lives, we have been taught, okay, just to have a job, and okay, some of us were, earning good money. Some of us were earning not very good, but still, managed to live and to secure our lives on a daily basis. But as I started to learn about, how do wealthy people live, how do they, invest their money, and in general, as I started to learn a lot about the energy of money, that was, one of the very interesting turning points in my way of thinking, because on some level, I think, because also what I started to acknowledge and also to teach my clients is, okay, that you need to use your gifts because also, of course, the more gifts you use, the more abundance you create. But then I had this, connection, finally, okay, but you can use your talents and gifts to actually share with the world, to create abundance through multiple sources of income. So perhaps maybe it doesn't mean that you are actually working in only one job and use your talents. You may, of course, it's okay as well. Okay, then there's another step, what we are doing with the money we are earning, but that's another point. But perhaps we are also moving into a completely different way of working and earning money. And perhaps we won't be willing, not even able to, but maybe we won't be even willing to work just for one employer, just at one job, because maybe it won't be secure for us anymore with all these changing times and all these challenges that we are all facing and the changing economy. So, okay, what I discovered for myself, of course, as I opened my own business and I'm the entrepreneur and I have a plan for myself and I'm creating my income through multiple sources of income. And this is exactly that was one of my biggest, epiphanies. And that was amazing because I thought, okay, I can do this, I can sell this, I can earn money from here, then I can invest money here and there and do this and that. Okay, now I'm being general because I will leave it for other podcasts. So it is just a brief introduction of this because this is absolutely my favorite. So think about it because this is very much linked to the gifts that you have. So think about, this is the first question. Yes, I actually want to ask you, what talents that you have that you can share with others? So the third point, I don't need to say much anymore because it's actually what I just said. It's my gifts are my assets through which I create multiple sources of income. The word assets is very important here because if you watch some videos, about rich people, they always say they own assets. And this is right, they own assets. But also assets, they are external things, which is great because we need, also external things like a house and, okay, maybe some other properties or maybe some other investments, whatever. I'm not going into details at the moment. But your gifts are your internal assets. This is the most important thing. You are a treasury. You are a huge mine, like diamond mine. So this is that's why it's so powerful. And then we go to the next one, to the fourth one. I may use different exchange ways as a means of payment. Okay, and here we are coming to the extremely important and very hot topic, I would say, because it's very much connected with financial markets, with the local and global economy. So I will just leave it this way, and I will just say, okay, where are we heading as societies in terms of our economical systems? Because we know that what has been created is not working well. We can obviously see this with this whole chaos and the whole predictions, about, okay, we will see how it happens, and perhaps it won't be like, a one sudden drop. Perhaps it will come gradually. We will see, because predictions are one thing, and then how people will drive this is another thing. But yes, it just leads to the situation and the whole understanding, and also our visions of the future. How do we want the economic systems to be in the future? What will be healthy and sustainable for us and for the future generations? So, okay, we go to the currency issues, gold and silver, stock and bonds, cryptocurrency. So these are all the ways that we use today. Who knows what we're going to have in the future? And this is, I believe, up to us, people, to decide what do we want our economies to be in the future. So here we are in the number 5. My debt is lower than my savings or cash, than the value of my assets. I believe this is pretty clear. And what I believe, what is actually that we are experiencing in the moment, especially with all the mortgages that a lot of people have, is okay, like we have the mortgage, let's say, people have the mortgage, and they can still afford the monthly charges, the monthly installments, but they don't have enough savings if one day they would have to, let's say, pay back the loan. They don't have enough savings or cash or other assets, and sometimes, very often, during the times of the bubble, the value of this asset, let's say a house, does not even cover the value of the mortgage. And this is the real problem a lot of people are facing. So, okay, this is also like, a part of the greater economy, but still, I think this is something that we really need to take into consideration moving forward. So this is what I identified also for myself, that how I see this part of my financial freedom. I am responsible for securing my future. This is something that has been with me for so many years now, because previously, being an employee, I was earning pretty good money, so all the taxes and social securities I was paying were pretty high. Then I became a small entrepreneur in my country, and of course I was always, also paying my taxes and social securities. And then each time I was receiving the calculation of my future pension, I was like, really? Is this a joke? So that was actually pretty depressing, like I was feeling, okay, I work so much, I work hard. I had this feeling like I create a lot of added value, and this is what I'm gonna get. No way. So this is okay. I don't have the answer yet, I believe that what is very important, and that's why I'm creating this, and also I'm creating this channel also to have discussion, because there's a lot of things I discovered for myself that I'm very pleased and honored to share with you. But also there are things I believe we all have to discover together, and we have to really create together. Because I think the way that system works at the moment, no matter the country, but in a way the systems are similar, right? Like the governments are creating some funds for us to pay us pensions when we get retired. And knowing the levels of average pensions, it's just survival mode. It's terrible survival mode. So I don't want this kind of future for myself. I don't know if you have similar thoughts, but I would prefer to, let's say, I don't know, I was thinking of that, like if we create smaller communities, because I believe it's also very difficult to manage money for huge societies. This is just, a thought that I had and I still have, and it's coming back to me. Like, it's the same like a huge corporation. If you have a huge corporation which has a lot of money, because I worked in, these big corporations, when you have a lot of money, sometimes you lose control and you overspend. And you also spend sometimes on unnecessary things. When the company is smaller, you manage your money better because you are able to control your money a lot better as well. And this is the same with a country. Like if you have a huge country, it's much more difficult to create the economical system that would work for all the people. So if it's all managed on smaller levels, like smaller societies, smaller tribes within countries, then also it's easier to manage this money. Let's say, okay, there is a society of 1,000 people, right, in different age groups, and I could, let's say, with my money, with my income that I have, I could support the people in my tribe. And we could find ways, we could generate ways to provide for these people. Because I think it is also an obligation. Like none of us is here alone, and we also should be grateful for what our ancestors and previous generations created for us. Maybe not for everything, okay, but maybe they could the same about us, It's always working both ways. So this is like, okay, I think it's just easier to manage the money in a smaller societies. So this is just the idea. And also, if I pay my social funds, I really don't know how my money is being spent at the moment. And in the country where I live at now, of course, I love this country, it's beautiful. But I don't see any results, like positive results of the money that is being paid for the social services, for the public service. So I would actually like to have influence on how my money is being spent. And this is the component of the financial freedom that is very important for me because it influences my future. And I have no control over that at the moment. And I would like to have. I would like to have influence. I would like to have a choice because at the moment I have to pay the social fund. I don't have any other choice. Of course, if I want to work, if I want to be an employee or entrepreneur or yes, to do something legally, and of course I do. So I would like to have a choice. Maybe I would like to put my money into something else that could secure my money for the future. And I would like to have a choice. And here comes the huge one. And it's also very much connected with the previous one. I create more value than debt for future generations. Yeah, I think I will leave it without any comment for now. And the last one that I have identified is I invest and multiply my money and assets into inventions that I find beneficial for me and the society. And this is also very much connected with securing my future. Because perhaps, like I said before, my money that I paid for social services are not being spent in the way I find efficient and beneficial for the society. So I would actually like to have a choice, like I said before. And perhaps I would like to invest my money in some early stage startups that I can, feel and see that they have very good ideas for, like, I don't know, some inventions that could influence, that could be very beneficial for the future, for the society today, not even for the future. And this is how I would like to, have a choice to put my money, where to put my money. Because as we know, everything is energy. What we put our energy into grows. So I want things to grow that I find meaningful and beneficial. So this is a very interesting aspect from my point of view. So as you can see, and I don't know what have you expected from this message, but personal freedom is not only about the individual. Of course, it starts with individual, but as we live in the world of exchange, it means that we are financially exchanging as well. And perhaps it's the right moment in time for us to really think about it and to start creating new solutions for, of course, personally, each of us, and collectively for all of us, that would be more healthy and more balanced, and that we would support what we truly believe in and not what we are being told. So whoever had these thoughts, as I mentioned at the beginning, that freedom is about doing whatever you want. No, it's not this type of behavior. It's actually taking responsibility, and I will be repeating that many, many times. And of course, if we want more freedom, we need to take more responsibility, because that means that we will need to participate in the decisions that we haven't participated before, like, for example, the economy. Because the way we create our reality today affects not only the present, but also the future and the future generations as well. And if we don't want to create more debt for the future generations to be obliged to pay it off, this is what we need to think about. And I really encourage you to think and perhaps to write down what personal freedom means to you and what financial freedom means to you, and how would you like your life to look like in the next 10 years. Please think about it, because I believe that only together, when each of us knows who he or she is on a deep level, we can truly exchange and we can truly co-create the new reality, the healthy reality. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you like the content, if you are curious about what more is coming, please follow this podcast. Please subscribe also to my YouTube channel. I will put the link down below, as well as feel free to visit my website for if you are interested in the coaching sessions or perhaps the programs or other services I provide and I create. So I will also put the link down below. Thank you once again for listening and for joining this channel. I hope we will speak and see each other soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye.